This episode is brought to you by Netflix. So Netflix is basically Santa this year. 2 NFL games on Christmas Day, streaming live. At 1 p.m. Eastern, it's Cowboys, Commanders. Then at 4:30, you've got Lions, Vikings. Midwest football, playoff stakes, and probably some snow. Watching holiday football is a tradition the whole family can enjoy. Open some gifts, grab some food, settle in, and watch NFL Live on Netflix this Christmas Day.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
You really want to be better with your finances. You try to put money away in savings. You look for deals. You wrote out a budget once, a long time ago. Yet you still overdraft from time to time and you still have debt. The truth is, managing money is not easy, but Rocket Money can help. Rocket Money shows you exactly what you're spending every month. From there, the app helps you make a budget that meets your financial goals. The app even gives you real-time alerts when you're about to go over your budget so you don't spend too much. With Rocket Money, you can also see all of your subscriptions at a glance and cancel the ones you don't want right from the app. Rocket Money can even try to get you a refund for some of the money you wasted. Plus, you can use the Smart Savings feature to start putting more money away. Rocket Money analyzes your accounts to determine the optimal time to stow away cash without going over your budget. Our members report that the Rocket Money app saved them more than $700 a year. Getting better with money doesn't have to be a pipe dream. Rocket Money can make it a reality. Go to rocketmoney.com/cancel or download the app from the Apple App or Google Play stores.
Hello and welcome to The Price of Football, the show that looks at the money behind the beautiful game with me, Kevin Day, and Liverpool University's Kieran Maguire. Kieran obviously instinctively knows that I'm not meant to laugh, so tried to do a serious counting, which of course ended up being funnier than any of his other countings. I'm trying to remember how this happens, how this works, Kieran. It's lovely to see your smiling face, as it was to see your smiling face in hospital last week. There's nothing cheers somebody up than
a visit from an accountant.
A visit from an accountant telling me the football clubs that are currently in trouble and possibly going out of business. And then asking a doctor how they keep track of all the supplies and do they use a spreadsheet. It's lovely to be back. I'm not going to guarantee I can get through all of this, Kieran, to be honest, but I think we'll be fine. A big thank you to producer Guy for stepping in to help me. I thought it was best to come back before he got too much of the stardust in his eyes, Kieran, and decided that he wanted to come back to his showbiz career. And also, I can't thank the amount of emails and messages I've had from our listeners has been astonishing, Kieran. It's really lifted my spirits. So we quite often go through life not realising how much we're appreciated, and include you in that, Kieran. But I've still got one tranche of emails to respond to, but I will get back to you all at some stage before Christmas. But really has been very much appreciated, as has, of course, your daily messages of support, Kieran. So shall we? I've got physio coming at some stage, and you've got some kind of accountancy phone. This is how rock and roll it's. Gary Lineker's having 10 million quid's worth of money thrown at him by Netflix, and we've got accountants and physio going on. So, although I emailed Gary, I now feel I really enjoy myself watching football when a pampered player has to be carried off with a broken fingernail. Ed has to stop me shouting at the telly, "We call that an injury?" I tried to run mine off. There's a couple of stories, Kieran. Obviously, these things were ongoing when I was in what I like to call my morphine period, otherwise known as my fuck me, this hurts period. So when I wasn't taking information in as well as I probably should have been. I listened to the Burnley game on the radio in hospitals, but 2 days later, the news that we'd won it came as some surprise to me. Basically, quite a pleasant one. But and one of our ongoing stories involves those French lawyers, Kieran, and it's just been an outcome in the Paris St-Germain Kylian Mbappe case.
Yes, for people not familiar with the story, Kylian Mbappe initially was trying to recover around about 260, 270 million euro from Paris Saint-Germain when he left to go to Real Madrid. And Paris Saint-Germain were counterclaiming. They said that he had acted in bad faith, that he was always intending to go to Real Madrid at the end of his contract. Oh, we got to walk out already.
I've missed that.
Did
she? I've got to check here. Did she walk out when producer guy was hosting, or was this just her going, "Oh Christ, he's back"?
No, he was in and out. He didn't hear your voice, and that was it.
Okay.
Who is this imposter? He cried.
Anyway, yes, Mbappe.
So yes, PSG counterclaimed, saying that Mbappe was always intending to leave, which he's perfectly entitled to do. So we've had an award in the French courts of 60 million euro. This is comprises of two elements. First of all, 3 months' wages. I think PSG withheld wages, which was only a small part of it, and mainly it was to do with bonuses. The irony of a loyalty bonus in football for somebody that leaves. That was due to him not leaving during the 1 year extension on his contract, and then there was intriguingly an ethics bonus, which was withheld by PSG. So I spoke to a secret French lawyer. I can't give her name, of course. We'll call her Soulemonde, shall we? I'm available all week. Why? Come on, Lineker. You getting 10 million for this? Oh, crap puns. What about us? And she advised me that under French labour law, you cannot withhold wages for bad behaviour, for want of a better phrase.
Right.
And therefore, one way of circumventing this is to have payments structured into a player's contract which aren't wages, but which are related to bonuses. So PSG withheld this particular bonus. The French court said you can't do that. PSG have said, as they always do, of course, we're considering our options. We're not particularly happy with the verdict, and we may or may not counterclaim. They'll go away and take legal counsel and go from there. So yes, it's a victory for Kylian Mbappe. I don't have a lot of sympathy for PSG. They got some pretty good years out of the player. They initially, of course, acquired him via a complicated financial structure because they couldn't afford to buy him at the time. So they took him on loan with a view to signing and so on. And the idea that we should feel sympathy for any organisation which is owned by a sovereign wealth fund sort of goes intuitively against my freedom for tooting grain.
I forgot to ask, Kieran. It's remiss of me not to ask at the top. I told Ed that you were going to Lapland, and he naturally assumed it was some sort of gentleman's club, and was disapproving. And so, but I'm not. I'm genuinely not the jealous or envious type. Normally, I don't regret or resent good things happening to other people, but seeing your photographs and visiting Santa, Kieran, there was a certain little grinchy element of me going, it should be me. How was that? They look lovely photographs. Did you have a nice time?
Yes, we had an amazing time. We were there for 4 days, and I ticked off. And I went and I was sort of, okay, I'm doing this for the kids. Taking my two granddaughters.
Yeah.
But it was, and I'm a grumpy atheist. This was the closest thing to a spiritual experience I think I've ever had. I went husky sledding on an ice lake.
Wow.
And then we just stopped, and you just saw the splendor of everything around you. Snowboarding, skiing, tobogganing, reindeer, and then taking, and you talk about life here. We've always said that football is not the football that matters. It's the fact that it creates those lifelong memories and experiences which you reminisce about with your mates. Well, my two granddaughters, who people may aware that their father passed away a couple of years ago. They've not had it easy under those circumstances. And the mum's absolutely brilliant. To see them in, and I got to say, as a Santa, he was absolutely top draw. So we met Creme Fraiche, his French elf. If ever you've met a young French lady in an elf outfit with an accent which was straight from Allo Allo, for men of a certain age, it was a life affirming experience. She was brilliant, and yes, we went away to his little cabin, and it was to see their jaws drop was absolutely amazing. So yes, I'd recommend it to anybody.
I'm not going to tell Ed that your hostess at Lapland was Creme Fraiche, the French elf, because it's just confirm every expectation that he had of your visit in the first place. That's one. He made a very good Santa, Kieran, because he is Santa.
He is, yes, and quashed those terrible rumours.
I'm just amazed that you didn't check his spreadsheet, because his spreadsheet must be astonishing. More news stories, Kieran. This one is a football finance story, sort of in passing, but it very much counts. It involves Roman Abramovich, which is why it's a football finance story. But we hopefully finally seeing some action in terms of his frozen assets.
Well, yeah, I'm not convinced we will. I mean, the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has said that he effectively has got a countdown clock now. There's 90 days to go, and they're going to set up a foundation. When Roman Abramovich sold Chelsea Football Club, his assets were frozen by the UK government. Now, important to note, his assets were frozen. That is not the same as seized. So he is still the legal owner of those assets. What he cannot do is benefit from their sale. So the UK government said at the time, and remember this was a different administration, was that if the club was sold, he could not benefit from the sale. The club was sold for around about £2.5 billion. Remember, Todd Boehly withheld some money because there were due diligence issues, which have resulted in Chelsea being up on charges. And since then, there have been delay upon delay upon delay. And this is all to do with the carefully worded statement, it has to be said, from Roman Abramovich at the time. He said that the proceeds of the sale would go to, and I quote, the victims of the conflict. Now, that was fairly loosely defined. He was going to ask somebody who has previously been involved with, I think, UNESCO or sort of one of the major charitable organisations linked to the UN to be in charge of distribution. There are many thousands, tens of thousands of people in Russia who are the victims of this conflict because it is their sons who have been fed by Vladimir Putin to their demise due to poor equipment being effectively just used as cannon fodder to hunt, to be used to find out Ukrainian snipers and so on. So yes, they are victims of the conflict. But if your mate Vladimir Putin hadn't invaded Ukraine in the first place, Roman, we wouldn't be in this position. And I've also got to say, and with a heavy heart, if you just give the money to Ukraine and corruption go hand in hand. So I've got experience of working in Russia. I'm fully aware of the mafiosa element of society. It is institutional corruption. It's not much better in Ukraine. So I think it is important that if this money is going to go to appropriate causes, then there's got to be appropriate checks and balances to make sure it ends up assisting those that need it the most. But my concern is that Abramovich is confident that There will be some legal redress which will prevent the money being transferred across in 90 days. He is a very wealthy individual. His legal team can put up a series of blockages. So yes, it is a football finance story because it involves the sale proceeds of a football club. But I think there are elements of politics which have superseded the actual concern for what is happening on a daily basis in Ukraine.
I think that's a good distinction to make, Kieran, between frozen and seized, because certainly I assumed they were the same thing, but quite clearly that they aren't, are they? I think we hear that his assets have been frozen and you kind of go, okay, he hasn't got access to that. That's not his money anymore. But yes, it still is quite clearly, but although he hasn't got access to it, as he said.
Yeah, I mean the nature of something being frozen is it can be thawed, whereas if it's seized, somebody's physically taking it away. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry about that slight hesitation. I could actually feel a painkiller wearing off by a degree there. And I do, please tell me that at some stage during your conversation with Santa in Lapland, you used the phrase frozen assets. I'd be very disappointed to hear that you didn't. This story about Manchester City, Kieran, and their reported loss 24-25, it does seem counterintuitive that they would lose money, but of course the ability of football fans to create conspiracy theories where there are none is incredible, because they're going, oh well, they know that the court case is coming up and they're trying to say they've got no money so they can't pay a fine. Which is like, it's the time of year when clubs are announcing their profits and losses. As simple as that, lads. It's nothing to do with them trying to pretend. They haven't hidden some money down the back of the sofa so they can claim poverty if and when, God felt. I think my painkillers will wear off before that court case is finally decided. But so yes, how significant is this Man City loss?
Well, it's an interesting one. If we start with top line, revenue was down. Not by a lot, but Manchester City's financial year end was the 30th of June, 2025, and Manchester City were participants in the FIFA Club World Cup in June 2025, and we were told just how lucrative that competition was. Now, admittedly, it did transfer across into July as well. So, despite the additional money coming into the club from participation in the Club World Cup, the money overall was down. Commercial income maintained itself. The big hit for Manchester City, and this is something which clubs are getting increasingly twitchy about, is progress within the Champions League. In 2024, they were knocked out by Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. In 2025, they were knocked out again by Real Madrid, but this was in the group phase. The clubs that finished between 9th and 24th go into a playoff. And they're knocked out there. And that hit them to the tune of around about 30 to 40 mil. So that was down. Wages were down. I'd expect wages to perhaps continue to fall this season because no longer have Kevin De Bruyne. So that's where we are. And overall, they actually made quite a hefty loss. But what Manchester City are very good at, and they don't really get perhaps enough attention, is that they're very good at selling players. So the player sale profits offset the day-to-day losses, which were far in excess of £1 million a week.
If you've shopped online, chances are you've bought from a business powered by Shopify. You know that purple Shop Pay button you see at checkout? The one that makes buying so incredibly easy? That's Shopify. And there's a reason so many businesses sell with it, because Shopify makes it incredibly easy to start and run your business. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/promo. Go to shopify.com/promo.
This episode is sponsored by Shopify. When we started The Price of Football and things started to take off, it all got a bit overwhelming at times as we were suddenly sorting out recordings, interviews, live shows, and our online store. When you're starting off with something new, it seems like your to-do list keeps growing every day with new tasks, and that list can easily begin to overrun your life. Finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything can be such a game changer. For millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify.
Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. With Shopify, you get your own design studio that includes hundreds of ready-to-use templates. You can accelerate your content creation with Shopify's AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. And you can easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify.
Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for a £1 per month trial period at shopify.co.uk/price of football, all lowercase. So go to shopify.co.uk/price of football to take your business to the next level today. That's shopify.co.uk/price of football. I think, Kieran, if you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, there's no denying you're going down. But it seems like off the pitch there are credible bids to buy the club, which I think in the circumstances most Sheffield Wednesday fans would probably swap that for staying up.
Absolutely. So if you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, you are currently in a tunnel, but look ahead of you and you will see light. Yeah, that's my viewpoint. My understanding from reading and huge credit where we said this before, local journalists really come to the fore, and they don't go through their training, and they don't get involved in the types of things that they're having to report because they're football fans who love Wednesday or the teams that they report on. But the likes of Joe Cran, Alex Miller, and many others in Sheffield, they deserve a huge degree of credit for keeping people informed. So it looks as if the deadline for what we refer to as best and final, and anybody that watches those interminable house programs will know what best and final is. It's another chance to just try to shake down the potential buyers for a few more quid. Apparently that was on Wednesday the 17th of December. It looks as if we are now in a position of, and then there were three. So Mike Ashley is believed to have put in the lowest bid, but he's probably got domestic credibility, not for being a nice guy, not for being popular with Newcastle United fans, in terms of having the physical liquid cash. There's no doubt that Mike Ashley has the cash. There is a US consortium. I think there were two potential bidders groups who decided to come together, and there's a final guy, and this is the one who is the most intriguing, a guy called James Board, a sort of an analytical guy, professional poker player, so a bit of a sort of a more glamorous reputation or background. So that's where we are. If two bids are similar, the administrators reserve the right to go back and say, come on, give me a little bit more. Yeah. And certainly, from my own experience way back when I used to do insolvency work, that's fairly standard process, because your obligation is on behalf of the unsecured creditors. The more money that you generate, the more dividends can be paid to people who have provided goods and services in good faith. So that's where we are. I believe that the administrators have managed to get rid of tire kickers, fantasists, lunatics, and various ne'er-do-wells who tend to follow football clubs around under these circumstances. So we're hoping that these three people will be less of the Chris Kirchners stroke 777s of this world, but these people are very persuasive. But Mike Ashley, let's park many things we could say about Mike Ashley. Mike Ashley has cash. He has resources, and I would imagine that the administrators have done the same with the two other parties, because their reputation will suffer if they don't. So yes, I mean, there is a potential for a preferred bidder to be announced before Christmas. Deal won't be finalised because the EFL have to do their work. independent football regulator will have to do their work and so on. But I think early in New Year we could. And as you rightly say, Sheffield Wednesday fans, they're a very phlegmatic bunch. They've accepted where they are this season, and they'll be keeping an eye on the League One table. Who's getting promoted from League Two? Because with we have supported clubs that have been known to be relegated, and yes, you don't like it at the time, but as soon as the fixtures you come out, you go, "Oh, Carlisle, I've not been there since '84." And these types of things, and it's still the club that you love, and it's still the mates that you love that you go to the matches with that matter the most.
It's one of the coldest games I've ever been to, Carlisle away, and it was mid-September. I only had a Joy Division T-shirt on. Oddly enough, Kieran, we did sort of predict about a year ago that the way that these two stories were merging, that the independent regulator and Sheffield Wednesday, that might be their first sort of public test of how the regulator works. Just remind us, Kieran, of how it...
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Works legally for the administrator. So if you've got three bids, one's 40 million, one's 50, and one's 60, are they legally obliged to take the highest bid? I mean, or if, for example, Mike Ashley's was the lowest bid, but he said, "I'm going to do this with the ground. I'm going to do this." Does that come into play for the administrators, or do they just have to say, "We don't care what you're going to do with the club. We need to accept the highest bid," especially if there is a big disparity. Obviously, if there's only $1 million or two between each bid, but if there is a massive disparity, if one of them comes in, Charlie Big Bollocks, and throws down 60 million quid and says, "There you are," do they have to take it?
Yes, they do, because they are acting effectively on behalf of the interests of all of the unsecured creditors. So if somebody puts in a couple of extra million, then that's if that's another half pence or 2 pence in the pound in terms of what's offered, then you're obliged to do so. Saying that you're going to spend £20 million on the stadium once you bought it is none of the concern of the administrator.
And I presume the regulator won't get involved until the administrator has made their decision. So the administrator won't be saying to the regulator, "Look, we've got these three bids. What do you think?" The regulator will simply wait for the administrator to say, "Mike Ashley, whoever, is the person we've agreed to sell the club to," and then the regulator starts to do the tests and whatever.
That's right. And having had some interesting conversations, even before the regulator was formally set up in terms of these additional powers, it was able to nudge other government bodies into doing things which accelerated the football club going into administration itself, which I think is encouraging. I'm in a couple of chats with the regulator, so we will try to get them on. And Lisa Nandy was very good when she came on a couple of weeks ago as well. Just really to put people's minds at rest. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and we've always said that sunlight's the best disinfectant for such things. So yes, and remember the EFL are going to effectively say, we're going to hand over the owners and directors test to the regulator. Why duplicate the work? Premier League is not doing so. I think the Premier League is now sort of involved in, shall we say, strategic planning in case there is an administration, a government administration, which is no longer the current one in a few years, which is hostile intellectually and ideologically to the idea of a regulator.
We're talking of administration, Kieran. It's never a good sign when a club denies that they're going into administration.
Yes. So here we are looking at Aldershot Town. There have been rumours circulating. I know I was copied in on a couple of messages. I'm conscious that we perhaps of a wee higher profile than we did when we started the show. So I didn't retweet these or anything. I didn't think it was appropriate to do so.
Yeah.
But looking at Aldershot Town, they had a strike-off notice earlier this year, which I did publicise because that was a legal document, and they got a bit humpy about it.
Yeah.
They had to submit their accounts twice. Yeah, things like this strike me as tin pot, amateurish behaviour, not from the fans of the football club, hasten to add, but by the people in charge. You shouldn't end up in these situations. It's poor paperwork. It's poor, it's poor governance at the club. But that doesn't in itself mean the club's going to go into administration. So there certainly has been stories doing the deals, and the club has come out and said, we ain't going into administration. I've got the most recent accounts for Aldershot Town. They lost a wee bit of money in their last financial year, but compared to many other National League clubs, they were certainly at the bottom end of the losses. So I think this shows the power of social media. And I would also say to people, watch what you say on social media. I've done some stupid things historically, and I try to learn from that experience.
First ever Subbuteo team I ever had, Aldershot Town. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's amazing that I love Christmas so much, considering how many times I've been disappointed at Christmas. Because my uncle bought me Aldershot Subbuteo team, beautiful red shirts and blue shorts, I believe, at the time. I didn't have a Subbuteo pitch.
Oh.
So obviously my uncle buying me this led me to believe that Dad must be buying me a Subbuteo set. No, dartboard. I don't know why he would buy an 8-year-old kid. Basically, offensive. But my memory of that Christmas day is my uncle and my dad playing darts and me just looking at one Subbuteo team, basically praying that Carry On Christmas would be on soon.
I had Subbuteo, but I also had, and I wish I'd kept them. I had Subbuteo cricket and Subbuteo rugby as well.
Subbuteo rugby?
Oh yeah. You this little scrum machine, which you drop the rugby ball into this. It was rugby. I don't know. It's not. I won't call it a ball. I don't want to set you off. Don't want to set you off twitching. Rugby thing that they throw to each other. Oh yeah, but. Yeah, it was the rules for Subbuteo rugby. All that passing backwards nonsense, very, very difficult.
I remember Subbuteo cricket. I remember the ramp you had to bowl down the Subbuteo, which made just if you wanted to bowl faster, you lifted it up a bit. It didn't. You just stopped. I would recommend to anyone, when you're in hospital, time is a fluid concept anyway. When you're in hospital, listening to a day-night match in the Ashes with no idea what time it is in Tooting, let alone in Australia, on morphine while England are getting whacked all over the place. It's just, what's going to happen with their cricket? Yeah, we're going to lose tomorrow, so we'll have lost the Ashes within less than 10 days, and then we'll win the last 2 games, and everyone will go, Bazball's brilliant, isn't it? Meantime, Alex Stewart's marching up and down outside cricket headquarters with bat under his arm, singing the national anthem, saying there are other options on this. It's not. It's been a funny old year. It's not funny. It's been a terrible year for Hambleton Academical fans, and it's just got worse, hasn't it, Kieran?
Yes, they have had 2 broad issues in the last week. They have now had a 9-point deduction from the Scottish Football Association because of failure to comply with the bronze level licence, which effectively means that they produced a set of accounts, but they weren't audited. So how can we rely on them? They were given an extension by the SFA, and they failed to deliver on that. So that's one issue. Also, there are changes in the boardroom. So there's a guy called Jerry Strain who appeared to be doing practically everything. He's now resigned, or has been encouraged to resign, I think, by the Scottish football authorities, which left a vacuum. The owner, called Serif Zengin, he has not paid the wages. So therefore there was a problem there. The club confirmed the wages had not been paid. And now they've got a new director in charge, sort of the day-to-day operation. And I give you, who also lent the club money to pay the wages. So it's all becoming a little bit weird. Not as weird as this guy's name, Johnny Towers.
Wow.
Johnny Towers. And I'll try to keep this as, I appreciate it's a family show. I went on holiday with about 8 other lads in 1986, where a Johnny Tower was created, to which I contributed absolutely nothing. I hasten to add, because those days boys in their early 20s would be boys. Apart from me, I was busy playing top trumps by myself, and cricket card games.
I'm glad to hear you say that, Kieran, because as Kenneth Williams famously used to say when he was involved in a conversation that he didn't understand, I'm pleading the headaches. I don't know I don't know what you got up to. I can guess at what you were doing, but I'm pleased to hear that you were in the corner top trumping it. Although that doesn't sound good either, does it?
No, that doesn't.
But that's a Max Power sort of name.
That is, yes. Wasn't he on Buzzcocks?
Max Power?
No, Johnny Towers. Was that?
No, the kid from the Towers of London was a.
Oh yeah, he was a waste of space. He was.
It was a pain in the arse all day. It was. Yeah, he ended up in a fist fight with Mark Lamar, funnily enough, which is never.
Oh right.
Which you're never going to win. It's like he'd read about how punks used to behave back in the day, and it's like he was going to. It's like, mate, you're 5'7" and you're really posh. Stop doing this. It's like, Anyway, sorry, Hamilton Academical. Yeah, 9 points. So it's not what's. Where's this leading, Kieran? Is the question that Hamilton fans.
Well, I think the big issue is what is left. They've effectively got no ground. The owner is not paying the wages. They're relying upon somebody that appears to have some form of lending company now in charge. You end up scratching your head. It's not looking good at all. The football authorities, however, have limited powers as to what they can do. Yeah, and of course the independent regulator covers England and Wales.
Yeah. Now, with apologies, Kieran, to Blackburn fans and to those fans of Lionel Messi in India, I'm going to delay doing those stories because we've got 3 more stories to do, and we're both on a time limit, and I'm slumping ever so slightly, which is not a good look. First of all, it doesn't matter how off your face you are. It was impossible to ignore the FIFA ticket issue. And FIFA, all you can hear in the last 2 days is the sound of FIFA slapping themselves on the back for resolving the impossible prices of the FIFA tickets by releasing, 4 affordable tickets for the entire World Cup. I mean, what a total. I mean, talk about not even trying to hide the greed, Kieran. It's just shameful, this FIFA ticket store, isn't it?
Yes, for people not familiar, and I don't think there'll be many, what happened. Last week, FIFA put on sale the tickets, which effectively go for a lottery draw.
Yeah.
And those tickets, first thing to note was that when FIFA initially announced the tickets, it said they were going to be in 4 tiers, and tier 4 was going to be the most affordable. When the initial sets of tickets went on sale, and I think these were people who had to have a certain type of credit card in order to do this and so on, which is fine. Yeah, they're FIFA partners. Yeah, we know how the system works. People say, well, there don't seem to be many of those tier 4 tickets around, only because there weren't. And when it came to the draw, which all fans can apply for, there were none. So there were only 3 tiers of tickets. And then you took a look at the prices, and the prices have risen compared to the Qatar 2022 World Cup between 300% to 400%. So you are looking at hundreds, sometimes going into 4 figures. And there was a pushback. Football Supporters Association, Football Supporters Europe, government ministers, journalists, everybody said these are outrageous prices. And this is where the playbook comes in. This has been planned by FIFA all along. FIFA then spent the weekend doing absolutely nothing, and then came out early this week saying, "Yeah, we've listened. What we're going to do now is when the next tranche of tickets go on sale. So there are 8% of tickets available for fans of the two participants of each match. We're going to make some of those tickets on sale for just $60. Okay, how many? 10%. So 10% of 8%. 10% of 8%. Don't need a mathematician. 0.8%. I.e., a very, very few tickets will be on sale at $60. So yeah, it's throwing a few crumbs, and that's what it's designed to do. FIFA will justify the prices as follows. They have said there have been 20 million applicants for tickets, and indeed that might be the case. But my concern is as follows. I'm fully aware that many of the applicants for the tickets will be from organised crime. It will be from bots. It will be from speculators, because they know that they can put these tickets up on the secondary markets. Now, FIFA, of course, are now the official ticket tout organisation of the FIFA World Cup, and they take 15% commission from the buyer and a 15% commission from the seller. So they're making money on making money. Having seen the prices for the FIFA secondary market, they're very high. FIFA say you can't buy tickets from elsewhere. Well, if you go to StubHub, if you go to Viagogo, if you go to Todd Bowley, partly owned Vivid Seats, they're all advertising these tickets for £900, if not more, each. And you're thinking, well, how are they going to get around them? And I'll tell you, having attended World Cups myself, having attended Euros, with the best will in the world, when you've got a long line of slightly angsty men, women, children trying to get into a stadium, the security checks tend to be a bit more slapdash, a bit more casual. So that's what they're going to rely on. So FIFA will simply say, 20 million applicants, we probably told them too cheap. Economics 101 says we need to increase the price. And FIFA will make an awful lot of money. I mean, FIFA are going to make a lot of money out of the broadcasting, out of the commercial partners, and out of people attending. And if people want to go there for a football experience, and there are plenty of wealthy people in the world, they're going to have to go and pay these prices. FIFA say that there's been little pushback in the United States because there is a different culture to ticket sales. What I wonder is if in 3 months' time, whether the prices on the secondary markets, if it's Cape Verde versus Haiti, whoever it's going to be, whether those prices are going to start to tumble.
Okay, it's kind of embarrassing how bad I am at budgeting.
Let me see your charges.
Fine.
You spent over $600 on takeout last month.
I can't cook. You know this.
Yes, I have had your disgusting food, but you're literally paying for a meal subscription on top of that.
Whoa, wait. That can't be right.
Look, just get Rocket Money. It shows you all of your expenses in one place and even tracks your subscriptions. And if there's a subscription you don't want, which for you, there are a lot you don't need, you can just cancel right in the app with a few taps.
So you mean I don't have to call anyone to cancel?
Nope. No hold times or anything. And they'll even try to get you a refund on some of the months of wasted money, which is a lot of money for you.
Okay.
And if you thought I was done, I'm not. The app can also help you make a budget that works for your income. Anytime you get close to your spending limits, it alerts you, so you know exactly where your money is going at all times.
All right, I'm in. What do I have to do?
Go to rocketmoney.com/cancel or download the app from the Apple or Google Play stores.
You really want to be better with your finances. You try to put money away in savings. You look for deals. You wrote out a budget once, a long time ago. You still overdraft from time to time and you still have debt. The truth is managing money is not easy, but Rocket Money can help. Rocket Money shows you exactly what you're spending every month. From there, the app helps you make a budget that meets your financial goals. The app even gives you real-time alerts when you're about to go over your budget so you don't spend too much. With Rocket Money, you can also see all your subscriptions at a glance and cancel the ones you don't want right from the app. Rocket Money can even try to get you a refund for some of the money you wasted. Plus, you can use the smart savings feature to start putting more money away. Rocket Money analyzes your accounts to determine the optimal time to stow away cash without going over your budget. Our members report that the Rocket Money app saved more than $700 a year. Getting better with money doesn't have to be a pipe dream. Rocket Money can make it a reality. Go to rocketmoney.com/cancel or download the app from the Apple app or Google Play stores.
Well, see, Cape Verde is part of my argument. Is that people say to me, "Well, you've got England cricket fans. They're out in Australia. They spent £5,000, £6,000. They're seeing their team get larried." But the vast majority of that money is travel, is airfare.
Yeah,
it's simple as that. The tickets are reasonably expensive for cricket tickets, but you're probably talking £100 at most, and that's for good tickets. So, but also the Barmy Army and all other England fans and Australian fans in reverse have got 2 years to save up for these things,
yeah.
and also there's loads of other lovely things to do when you're out in Australia. It's but what I don't understand, you mentioned Cape Verde. FIFA makes such a fuss about look at the World Cup now. We've got Cape Verde going to the World Cup, and you go, that's brilliant that Cape Verde are going to the World Cup. I don't know much about the economic circumstances of Cape Verde, but I'm guessing there's going to be very, 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 very few people from those islands who can A, afford to travel, B, afford tickets. Now, it may well be there are people in America who want to go and see Cape Verde, but they're probably not going to be able to see the tickets. So what is the point of having this World Cup that is open to everyone, but then is not open to the fans? And it strikes me that FIFA wouldn't be doing this, Kieran, if it was in any other country other than America. Because I don't think, for example, and I know FIFA are all powerful, but if this World Cup was in Germany, I don't think the German authorities would stand for it.
And the German fans certainly wouldn't.
And the German fans certainly wouldn't. I think they know. I think Canada and Mexico are kind of the third parties, second and third party. They know that, as you say, in the American sports fan and in the American political administration, they have people who just go, "Yeah, fine, we'll pay whatever it takes." Because that's what they're used to. And they don't have the American sports fans don't have the same anger about executive boxes, the prawn sandwich brigade that we have. It's untenable, and it's just this thing at the weekend with them like say, well, look at this £45 ticket. Yeah, there's 8. Oh, never mind. Two more stories. I mean, we've had to in the 6 years we've been doing this pod, Kieran. We've had to readjust our definition of eye-watering amounts of money, basically, which is handy when it comes to this story from Italy.
Yes, Juventus, and we know that historically Juventus have always been closely associated with the Agnelli family and Fiat and so on. They have had a €1.1 billion bid for the club. This isn't dissimilar to what you'd expect. I mean, it puts them worth slightly more than West Ham, which you might say was a bit low. But if you take a look at their the stadium insuring and so on, a lot of work needs to be done. I think what is interesting is that the bidder is a company called Tether. Now, Tether is a stable coin company.
Oh.
And what a stable coin is that if you're thinking of speculating on crypto, and I use the word speculate because it is not an investment, it is a gamble, by the way. You might be scared that you can get your trousers taken down. Now, stable coins are, in theory, what they do is that for every £1 that goes into the stable coin, that's backed by dollars or gold or secure assets, and you can use your stable coins to buy things. Sainsbury's don't take them. Amazon don't take them. So what? And again, I go back to why do you need to do this? How often am I going to need? Given that I don't smoke or drink, I'm not going to need them to buy drugs. I don't need to hire a hitman. can always ask Uncle Terry to have a word with the boys. I'm not trying. I've got nothing. I'm not trying to get something untraceable. So it does seem a bit strange, but Tether, I think, is connected to another investor, Italian investor. I did a bit of background into Tether, so I went to how secure. Why do people want to get connected to football? Football gives you legitimacy, just football gives you normalization. But if you go to the Standard and Poor credit rating for Tether, it says weak. Now, weak is the lowest rating that you can have. And why is Tether deemed to be weak is because the stability that it claims to have has been described as being connected to high-risk assets. So it's not a way of minimizing risk in terms of speculating on crypto. It would appear to be just as risky itself. So getting involved with it's known as the old lady. As we know, Juve, magnificent football club. It gives a certain degree of gravitas being associated with it. This is why the crypto industry is trying to get into bed with football.
Is it? Well, two things, Kieran. It's interesting. We've spoken recently about how the crypto bubble, it hasn't burst, but it seems to have evened out. We're not talking about it nearly as much as we were 2 or 3 years ago. But it's interesting to know, watching the European games last week, how many pitchside adverts were for crypto. So is this one of those bids then where the people at this, what's it called, stable coin, think to themselves, there's no way on God's earth that Juve's owners are going to accept even a 1.1 billion euro bid for this? As simple as that. But in the meantime, it's just 2 weeks of really good publicity for us, isn't it? So let's put this bid in. Price of Football might mention it. Who knows? It's the Italian press will be all over it. So there will be people going, oh, I've not heard of these people. I'll have a look. Oh, I don't care if weak or not. I'll put some money in. So it's almost a no-lose situation for them, because no one's asking to put money up front, are they?
Well, I'm not a cynic, Kevin. But if I was, I'd just said exactly what you've said. It will give you attention, and it will give you attention for a zero cash cost. Yes, it has been rejected by the current owners, but that's where we are.
Finally, Kieran, I have many regrets about the last 3 weeks. One of which is that I missed talking about Tony Bloom on the pod, and the moment seems to have passed. But we're using the word seem a lot today, but it seems that Palace have secured a rather large loan, and it seems that it's specifically for one reason. My one worry about this is that when John Textor invested into the club initially, it seemed that it was for the same reason, that the money was just to redevelop Sellers Park. So, where are we on this story?
I think this is different. This is a loan from a bank, which Steve Parish has spoken about last week. It looks as if work is going to start relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I think that surprised a lot of people. And if so, £125 million will go some way to improving the increased capacity. You want to preserve and protect the history and the heritage of the club, and I think, to be fair to Steve Parish, he will be fully aware of that. Woe betide clubs that ignore fans who are keen on those types of stuff. So fair play if you manage to secure it. Be interested to see the interest rate. Expect it won't be as low as Spurs. And I think it's further signs of two things. First of all, the strength of the Premier League, and also the degree of confidence that the lender must have in Crystal Palace of continuing to be in the Premier League.
You say relatively quickly, Kieran. It's now 7 years since that lovely model of the new stand went up in reception, to the extent that they've had to renovate the model, I believe, recently. They've had little tiny Subbuteo-sized builders in to renovate the model. Do we know much about the lender, who the lender is, Kieran?
I did note it down, but my screen's just gone blank.
Okay, fair enough.
My screen in front of me, so I can't see.
Yeah, like my mind. So we'll catch that up, and we'll catch up the story with Blackburn Rovers supporters group starting a boycott, and that somewhat chaotic tour of India by Lionel Messi. But in the meantime, don't forget you can now join our Price of Football Club, where you'll get ad-free listening, access to our full back catalogue, bonus episodes, Zoom quiz invites, and more. Christmas quiz on Monday night, Kieran, I believe.
It is.
Which I can now say with some certainty is going to go ahead. This was by way of a dress rehearsal to see if I was able to do it. So if you want to take part in all those things, just go to priceoffootball.com and click on Join the Club to sign up today. If you have a question you'd like answered on the show, email us at questions@priceoffootball.com. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter and you can find us on YouTube. And if you'd like to buy our book, you can find details on our website, priceoffootball.com. Kieran and Guy will be back on Monday, I think, with a questions episode. In the meantime, I shall hand you over to Mr. Kieran Maguire. I can't tell you how happy it's made me to spend 48 minutes in your company this morning, Kieran, for his customary farewell.
Well, it is. The reason I've been beaming is just, I'm not being soppy here. You are my big bruv, as you know, and I've been worried sick about you, and it's just great to see you smiling again, mate. As it is 10:59, and either Kevin's physio has arrived, or he's got a surprise behind him with somebody wearing a pair of rubber gloves.
Don't make me
which might be unexpected. So yes, thanks for everybody. I have to say bye now, and see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
The Price of Football. The Price of Football.